Hey gang, it's Ark. Welcome back to Orb of Creation. Alright, so it's been a few days since the last time I played this, so I was able to get a couple hours in here and there, in between now and the last episode. And as you can see, we're quite a bit more powerful. So I'm going to kind of go through and explain roughly how my current setup works before we really get started here. So as you can see, I'm running a lot of essentially permanent. These last forever. Augment spells. And so these two down here at the end are really critical to the point that if I let one of them stop, it actually kind of messes up my build. So I need to, when I replace these, I actually get rid of a spell from over here, run a second copy of this, and then once it's already on, then I turn the other one off, and then I can just move it over into the old slot. Alright, so I'll start with these two since I already said those are so important. So this one, in addition to giving an insane amount of cooldown and casting speed, which mostly helps in combat, it also gives me regeneration to pay for my transmutations. And it has a tiny bit of drain on my energy. You can see there it says it's minus 20.9 million per second, which is exactly what I have here. This is actually really helpful because I'm able to temporarily run a static field to massively increase my max energy. And then as long as this is on here, this doesn't go back down to the new cap when I turn that off. So that's kind of the idea with that spell. This one is mainly just to increase my mana capacity. This increases it by so much that without this, I can't even afford to cast this spell or this one. Yeah, I can't actually afford to cast any of these, I think. Maybe I could afford the 823 for this, but all of these others cost way too much. So I actually need that on all the time now. Even to cast itself, I need to have this on. Okay, and then this one is mostly for combat. This just slowly builds up my spell power over time. But it only affects the non-augments, so I only really use that when I'm doing the rituals. And this is just for crafting power. I can turn this off when I go into combat. I don't really have anything in this slot. This is where I put the static field when I was using it. But it can also just hold my combat spell. Which I haven't decided yet if I'm going to be using this or if I'm going to be using the solar flare again. And then here we have condensed time. This is what gives me the insane amount of transmutation speed, in addition to all those other effects. Alright, so the basic way that this works, let me just kind of showcase. I stopped using the explosive for the augment spell power, and instead I'm using the effect from this wand, which as you can see right now gives 1.36 thousand% to only the augment spell power. But that combined with this potion, you can see it says plus 10.5 million% conductor power. So if I run a copy of this, now you can see this it didn't update. There's a issue where sometimes it doesn't take effect. So I'm just going to switch over to this and switch back. And then once it goes off a cooldown here, you should be able to see the effect that it has. Alright, so here we have it. Yeah, 115 million %. And it also gives minus 100% cooldown time. So one of the effects of this, I've actually been meaning to redo this condensed time. It's currently on heavy scholar, and I want it to be on heavy surged. So I'll just go ahead and swap this out. So let's go to casting. I'll go into my loadout. I'm going to turn this off. And you can see it has no cooldown. That's the effect of this. So I can go ahead and get rid of this. And let's go to heavy surged. Let's see here. What am I running? Condensed time? Okay, so I just have to make sure that when I cast this, this is all set up. Also, you can see currently this only lasts for 39 seconds. So I use my expansion elixir here. And then now when I cast this, it lasts for 62 days. So yeah, these are essentially just always up if I want them to be up. And you can see right now my artifacts are getting more levels. This is already at an insanely high level, 466. That's due to the fact that I have both the Attunement Brew and this on. This gives a bunch of experience rate for artifacts, and this also does. Okay, so let's talk about where I am progression-wise and what the options are for advancing from here. So most of my power comes from the potions. So I've already shown the Attunement Brew and the Expansion Elixir. And I'm actually low on Attunement Brews, so I'm going to show off the power of Transmutation Oil now. So if we go into brew here, said I was low on Attunement Brews, let's make a few of those. You can see it takes, well, it actually doesn't take that long to make these. I was expecting this to be more like 10 minutes, but these are actually really quick because they take water, and I have a lot more water production. So let me actually switch over to something that takes maybe experience elixirs. Yeah, okay, so those take 4 minutes to brew. But I use transmutation oil, which vastly increases the rate at which I transmute these resources. Then they now only take 5 seconds to produce. And it would actually be quicker than that. It's just that 5 seconds is the fastest that it will let you brew a thing, even if you have the stats to brew it more quickly. Looks like I could also afford to get my... make these slightly higher level. I'm not going to do that just yet. I've been on this for a while. But yeah, so I don't really need that many more potions. I guess I need more Attunement Brews. So I'll switch back over to that. And we'll get another 3 before this goes down to the next level. Oh yeah, and the other thing is, like, even without the transmutation oil buff, I'm going to wait for this to run out. Then I'll show you. I think I was saving... Yeah, I was saving this upgrade to show this off. So you can see, even without the additional transmutation speed, like, I produce so much more than my resource caps. You can see the rate compared to the cap, rate compared to cap, same thing here. For skill, it's particularly high because of the empowered smithery effect, which stacks on top of the other stuff. So yeah, so I can buy this, which uses most of my Elementia, and it's just instantly full again. Like, there is no time. Like, I could just constantly buy these upgrades. And that's true for essentially every resource that I can transmute. And so it actually simplifies the late game a lot, because if I go into any of these tabs here, you can see, like, these are just, I bought all of these to the max amount that I can afford. The only things that aren't like that are the ones that cost the Thaumaturgy, because I actually need to run a different spell to create that. I actually need to run the Brainstorm, which I don't always have on. So at one point I went in and I capped these out, and I haven't gone back to do that yet. I'm going to go and buy a level of Cognitive Mastery while I'm on this screen. But yeah, that's true for like all the structures in here. Like all this stuff is all maxed out. The craftable resources are really never what causes me to not be able to buy more. So like for this, I can buy up to the point that I can't afford the space. But I always have plenty of the paper. In fact, I have 85 quintillion paper. So that is just not an issue there. Same thing's true for the Thaumic Scrolls, Wizard Wood, Refined Wood. All of these are that way. So yeah, so I buy everything up to cap. The only things here that are not at cap are the ones that cost craftable resources. And technically, casting Resonator isn't at cap. This is just because I wanted to save a little bit of my energy. Plus, it's already up to a really high level. It wouldn't get me much to just buy like 3 or 4 more levels of that. Okay, so that was the transmutation oil. And then, let's see. This potion gives me extra space to hold knowledge, skill, and control. So that's a big deal. This adds a huge amount to my space, which is why if you look in here, you see I can only hold this much, but I've bought things up to that because I can get this. Essentially, it looks like it's about 1,000,000 times more when I have that potion up. I'm not going to use that potion right now, but I'll showcase that a little bit later on. So let's see. The expansion elixir I already talked about. This is what gives me the higher duration. Experience. So this is for getting experience, mostly for casting and for brewing. It helps with the mastery too, but I just kind of gain that passively. Okay, and then I've been using these Fury Potions for the tail end of combat. It can let me push a little bit further in the rituals. Pretty much all the other potions, I think I covered everything here. Pretty much all the rest of these are kind of useless. This doesn't give enough compared to the spell. I just don't need this because I get everything that does from the transmutation oil. I don't need explosive elixirs anymore because I'm just using this combined with my blasting wand. I don't care about cooldowns. I'm already fine on that. This does nothing compared to Brilliance. This can be minorly useful to buy a few more of the mana upgrades, but I haven't really needed it yet. Stabilization. Your health doesn't really matter in the late game, so that's useless. And then this is completely overshadowed by the effect of this, because this stacks up tons of times. I mean, this spell lasts right now for, well, you can see, a long time. And I'll actually get a lot more powerful and just refresh this before it would ever actually expire. Okay, so that's kind of what all the potions do, and so in talking about how to get more powerful, I think it makes sense to start with these 2 upgrades. These are the only ways to increase your max potion level. And so, as you can see, this one is capped by soul. I currently can only hold 10.4 thousand. So things that upgrade your soul capacity can make you more powerful. And then this one is capped by control. And so the same idea there. Anything I can do to upgrade that helps me out. And so from there, we can kind of branch off to those two resources and see what upgrades those. So there are two ways to increase how much soul you can hold. Technically 3 if you count this, but this is a very minor effect, so I'm not really going to count that. Looks like we've brewed as many potions as we can hold, so I'm just going to turn this off for right now, so we don't have to listen to it. And I am, in a little bit here, I'm going to go over, and we're actually going to do some combat. Right, so soul. There's two ways to upgrade the capacity. One is with this, the introspection, which I've only reached level 105 in. That I think I'm going to be able to push up to at least like 130 now. So we'll probably go do that in a bit. Maybe more than that. I've gotten quite a bit more powerful since the last time I did this. So we'll see. And then the other way to increase soul is with this structure, the Spirit Stone. And this is capped by knowledge. And once again, like, this might seem like a lot of these, and like these might seem like high costs, but this is my crafting power. So if I just do one craft of these, I get a huge amount of these, and that's why I have so many. If I craft max, I get even more. Same thing is true for these. And I can just do that over and over again because my stats refill over time. Like, I can just sit here and do this. So in that sense, my craftable resources are actually just hard capped by how much I can click. And in fact, I'd never thought this would be the case, but the craftable resources that can be transmuted are actually easier to get, because the only way to get the other ones is to sit here and click and actually do the crafting. Whereas with these, I can just create them passively with the oil. Like, you can see these just, even though they're so high, they just continue to have more and more produced. And in that sense, I should actually level this transmutation oil up to level 74, I guess. We'll do that later. Okay, so back to where I was here. This is capped by knowledge. So now, if we go back and look at the alchemy tab, so this one was capped by control, and this one ends up being capped by knowledge, and how far I can get in the rituals, which, as you'll see later, is mostly just capped by potion level. So that's kind of a closed loop there. But so knowledge and control are controlled by these couple of upgrades here. Memory, deep memory, and cognitive mastery. And this is capped by soul. I've already almost gotten this up to the cap. It takes a while because soul is slow to create. And these two are capped by thaumaturgy. The only real way to increase the amount of that I can have is just with these upgrades themselves. So those are kind of just capped, and this one is capped by soul. So as you can see, I generally just need more soul. And that leads to getting increased amounts of everything else. Now there's one other upgrade that I didn't talk about. The threading station increases the quality of those two stats, which does decrease their prices. So this is another way to get more powerful. And this can be upgraded theoretically forever because these resources are not capped. But they both have to be crafted. And so, you know, there's only so much sitting and clicking that I'm going to be willing to do. Alright, so that kind of covers most of the ways that I have to upgrade my power. One other thing that makes me more powerful is, in addition to the potions, I can actually level up my spells. So if we just look at the spells, you can see I've already leveled these up to the point where they are capped on the resources that they need. So this one is capped on skill, this one is capped on knowledge, that one is too, and this one is capped on knowledge as well. So I will be able to level these up as I get higher level potions, but these are essentially capped by potion level. Okay, so I think I'm ready to go ahead and try one of these rituals out. So you get to see a little bit of how this plays because I need to redo these. I don't use multiple pages at this point because I need like at least 3 of these up pretty much all the time. So what I'm going to do is cancel. Let's see. Before I get rid of my transmutation, I just want to look at the spells. So we'll look at Lightning Spear first. So the reason I'm using this is because even though it only hits one enemy, it's the only combat spell that is upgraded by one of the craftable resources that can be transmuted. So what that means is that not only is this uncapped, but I can get a lot of it. So I'm going to go ahead and let's switch back to buy one. Don't want to go too crazy here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and upgrade that one more time. So I think this is going to be much more powerful than my other options. But I'm going to go ahead and look at the other one too. Alright, so now let's swap this out. And I'm running quick and small on the combat spells because this is the way that they have the shortest cooldown. So let's take a look at the solar flare. Yeah, so this is upgraded with these spirit stones, or whatever they are, soul shards. I do have 2.67 trillion of them, so we can probably get this upgraded quite a bit. Let's see. Yeah, so let's just do a bunch of these. Okay, so that's as much as I can do with my current amount, and as you can see, we're still not even close to where we would be capped. So this is spell level 22. Let's just take a look at this. So this spell can one-shot things up to 1.68 quintillion. And let's get rid of that and drop in with the same augments the lightning spear. It's actually closer than I thought. This is only a couple hundred times more. Which I know sounds like a lot, but I think I actually value for right now the quickness of just shooting all the enemies at the same time. And you'll see why when we get into the combat. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, because we left that up, I'm going to go ahead and spend all my soul crafting more soul shards. I didn't actually get very many. 1.94 trillion. We might not actually be able to upgrade that again. Right, let's swap this out with the solar flare. Okay, yeah, so we wouldn't be able to afford that. And that's kind of the point, is that I could get the other one upgraded quite a few more times. Now, you can see this casts a lot, or this costs a lot to cast, but there's one more augment spell that I use when I'm going to be doing combat. So let's get rid of the Empowered Smithery. We don't need that anymore. Go ahead and ditch that. I want to keep the momentum going, of course. That'll make my combat spells more powerful. So the last spell that I'm going to use is it enchant? Yes. So let's just run a heavy surge to enchant. And I think I've already got this thing leveled up, but we'll just check. Oh, no, I could have upgraded a couple of times. It doesn't really need to be, though. It's already at minus 100% cost. I guess I'll upgrade it once or twice. We'll leave it at that. Okay, so let's make sure this is still set up. I need the duration buff. We'll get rid of that and throw an expansion elixir on there. Okay, we're about to get into combat. It takes a while to set things up. Okay, double checking. Okay, so that should be ready. So now, as you can see, this costs 0.002 blaze. And considering that I create 135 per second, we should be just fine. Alright, so I'm just going to switch this other one to another solar flare to make it one that's quick and small for the cooldown. Okay, so these are showing a 0-second cooldown. That's only because this is up right now. Once that's not up, I think they have a 1-second cooldown. Alright, I think we are ready to do combat. Hopefully I didn't forget anything important. Let's switch over to... I'm going to need my combat potions. And I think I want to show the... yeah, let's just go do that soul one that I was talking about. See if we can get our cap increased. I'm trying to think if there's another potion I need. Maybe experience elixir, just to have it on hand for the casting. Yeah, this will give me casting and mastery experience while it's in effect. I'm just going to start at the latest level that I can. This is going to cost me 1 million control. Should be fine. Alright, let's do it. I'm going to use the experience elixir, and let's get into combat. And I'm just going to spam my solar flares. And as you can see, these are going to continue to get more powerful over time. This is because of the momentum spell. I hadn't really charged this up yet. Sound effects are a little loud here. Wonder if I go into the settings, can I still play? Yeah, I can still play with the settings open. Let's just turn that down a bit. Still pretty loud. Alright, that'll do. Alright, so we're doing 110 quintillion. The enemies are still only in the trillions of health. And also, towards the end, we're going to have 3 minutes of 7.2 million % more spell power, so... there was one other progression path that I didn't really talk about. The elemental pooling, I think it's called, costs Elementia and gives you a 25% boost to all your mental resource caps. So I'll try to remember to go show you guys that at the... Actually, I think I can just go do it right now, right? So here we are at the workshop. I'm just still casting. Structures. Mesmeric pooling. Yeah. So if I can increase my Elementia capacity, then I can get more of these knowledge stats, which helps to increase my potion level. And for getting Elementia capacity, there's the supply chest, which is capped by space. And then there's also this, which just costs a whole bunch of I forget what these are called, but they can be crafted. But I think we need to use this. It sounds like we're slowing down. Let's go back to the rituals and see how much health do they have. Yeah, they were up in the sextillions of health, and I think I was previously only doing quintillions. But now I'm doing septillions worth, so we're going to be able to push a bit further. And as you can see, yeah, we're going to get even past the point that I said. Now, I guess one thing I could do, since we're nearing the end here, let me see if I can pull this off. So if I go into magic and go into loadout, and I just start casting only one of these, and I'm going to get rid of this and put a lightning spear in, and then I'm going to get rid of this right after I kill something, put a lightning spear in. Now I'm just going to start casting those. Yeah, so I can continue to do this. These cast a lot quicker, but it requires a lot more keyboard spam, so I don't really like to do this. That's nice that I can just switch it out at the end. And you can see these do even more damage, so we're going to be able to push even further. Still have 2 minutes left on my combat spell, so these are probably going to get too hard to kill before we even get to that point. Yeah, I don't really like the keyboard spam of this. Oh yeah, and also once these, there's an issue with those where instead of making the enemy take more, it makes it take a lot less. So if you can't one-shot kill with that particular spell, then you just lose right there. But I still think it's the best one to use just because of how it scales with what you can craft. Alright, so we actually made it up to level 174, and as you can see, we get a huge amount of extra soul capacity. I think I already had maybe about 4 or 5, but this still gets me up to the point where I will be able to buy another level of this, perhaps 2. I don't know how fast that scales up. Also, I didn't really comment on that, but we got tons of ectoplasm and the other, what are they called? Spoils. And that's partly because of, well, it's partly because of this, but it's mostly because of the insane amount of this that I have here. So we get a lot of those resources. Okay, so the thing I was trying to talk about during the combat and didn't really do very well at was you can increase the amount of Elementia that you can hold. by buying this. Because this increases the effect of this. And so this gives us another way to upgrade, because this is capped by space. I know it looks like it's being capped by this, but as you can see, if I just go in here and run a memory mixture, instead of only being able to hold 8 million of this, I can now hold 1.39 trillion. Now, unfortunately, I don't have my transmutation stuff up right now. I can fix that though. I think I can do it with just the oil. I don't think I need the condensed time. Yeah. So now we can just go ahead and buy some of these. Looks like I can only afford one right now, but another thing I could do is let's just go and buy these since I've got the resources for them. I'm not going to buy this right now. This is already 1 quadrillion of the cores, so I could buy a few more, but I'm not going to do it right now. You don't really get that much from it. Yeah, so that's most of what I wanted to show off today. Oh yeah, so you can afford to buy more of some of these things if you cast spells that create the resources. I'm not going to do it right now, but when you cast a spell that creates it instead of doing the transmutation, you can actually get up to twice your cap. So I could afford to buy essentially a few more levels of all the things by constantly switching out which spell I cast to create which of the resources. I just don't think it's really worth it. Right now. Just because I can still get large increases from some of the other places. Alright, let's switch this back over to a Fury Potion, and I'm going to show you one of the other ways that I can get some increases. Let's this will be the last thing that we do in this episode, but I'm going to go to the loadout here, and we're going to swap these back to solar flares, and we'll just swap them back out when necessary. Okay, so let's go to rituals, and this time sorry about that, I had to cough. All right, let's do this one. So this is going to increase our space capacity, which will allow me to buy those upgrades that I was just talking about. So yeah, I think let's just start at the maximum point that we can. This looks like it costs a lot, but this is nothing compared to the resources I have. All right. Okay, so same thing as last time. We'll use solar flares until it starts to get hard, and then I'll switch over to the other spell. Also, let's ditch the memory mixture and put in another experience elixir. I don't know if this is really doing much for me, but I'm just going to continue to use experience elixirs just to get a little bit more casting experience. I don't see any notifications that I'm actually leveling up, so maybe I just need to go get more potions before we can get much from that. So yeah, essentially the way this will go from here is I'll come out of these two combats with a bit more soul and a bit more space, and then I'll go in and buy all the upgrades that I need those for, and then that'll allow me to cast higher level, well, it'll allow me to make higher level potions. So then I'll go in and make all of those at the max levels. And then I'll go recast all my spells, and that'll make me more powerful, and I'll do some more crafting, buy some more upgrades. And then we just go back to this and repeat it. So I've kind of, I think, figured out the end game of this, and I probably won't do much more after this. So this is probably going to be the last episode. Now, if you know of a way that I could get significantly more levels or more power beyond what I showed here, I'd be very interested to hear it. Alright, how are we doing on damage here? We're doing... Okay, so we're still doing about 100 times what they have, so we can make a few more levels before... Can't remember, last time did I do the combat potion first, or did I do the... I think I did the combat potion first, and it still lasted for long enough. Alright, so that's starting to get a little trickier. Yeah, let's go ahead and use it. I don't want to sit here and... waste some time on that. Now also our spells will be a bit stronger this time because we've been charging them up with this the whole time. So I'll probably make it a bit further in this one than we did in the other one if I don't mess it up. Alright, so how are we doing on health here? We're still doing Septillions, and they have... Yeah, okay, we need to switch over. So, hopefully I didn't wait too late to do this. Quick, small lightning spears. Alright, so let's get rid of that and throw a lightning spear in. But I think I might have made it. Yeah, okay. Just afraid that I would get hit by something while I was trying to swap everything out. Still have 2 minutes left on my potion, so... So we're a little bit past the point we got last time. Probably won't make it too much further. Yep, there it is. Just take that one out just for fun. Alright, so you see my space went from about 500 to 700 million. So that's a decent sized upgrade there. And yeah, I just get so many of these now. I doubt I could ever use all of these. And unfortunately, I don't think there's much way to increase the ritual experience earned. That would actually help quite a bit because this increases the effect of the rituals themselves. So if I could get a lot of these levels, but the experience elixir doesn't really help with that. I think the only thing that really helps is this, and this is capped. This, you know, I could buy a few more of these if I really put points into this, but realistically, that's not going to happen. I guess it won't hurt to have this episode go quite a bit longer. Like I said, this is very likely going to be the last one. Now you see here, for some reason, my wand reverted back. Not really sure what's up with that. But yeah, I'm going to take the time here, so let's go ahead and exchange this for an attunement brew. Get that wand powered back up, and let's start switching back to my other setup. So, I'm gonna switch this enchant out. Let's see. Let's just get rid of these. We're going to want heavy surged. So I want condensed time in the first position. I must have missed it. Okay, and then, what's the other spell I was running? Oh, right, the, smithery. So let's just move that there. I'll leave this slot empty for right now. We don't really need anything in there. I guess I could cast a static field just to show you guys how strong it is. Alright, let's throw that expansion elixir in there. We're just going to get these in here, and then we'll do the upgrades. And then maybe I'll run through and run more powerful versions of them with the new potions. Okay, so this... Oh, this isn't ready. Oh, right, because I need to... Yeah, it's kind of annoying that you have to swap it off and back on to get the effect. The counter to that, though, is that it also stays even after the effect of this is out, so that's kind of nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and expansion elixir this, and that elixir lasts long enough that I can go and cast the condense... Well, I guess I want to do the static field, too. Maybe I can get all three of them. Let's do static field next. As soon as this is ready. Okay, so that's going to last for almost 3 years. And as you can see, it gives me an absolutely insane amount to my cap there. And every time I cast a spell... Oh, I think I let it run out. Oops. Alright, that's fine. We'll just use another one of these and cast this. Yeah, every time I cast this, I get a whole bunch of energy, too. I could probably fill this up if I just run a conjure energy. I'm actually curious to see if the condensed time will fill it up, though. Alright, this is ready. Let's go ahead and do that. And run our condensed time. Now we have all 6 running. That's not nearly as long as the other one. And it looks like we're not creating any significant amount of energy. We'll see if that changes once I get my transmutation potion in there. Alright, so we can now afford this. That's another +1 potion level. Let's go ahead and start brewing memory mixtures. I'm going to go ahead and make those max level, and let's go in here, and I'm just going to discard all my existing ones because I don't want those to... Like, I don't want to accidentally spend down to the point where I'm using the worst ones. Okay, so let's brew that. It's going to take 2 minutes, but we can just use a transmutation oil to make it take a lot less time. There it is at the 5 seconds. It's the fastest you can do it. Okay, so I think what we're going to do here is use some of these memory mixtures. And now we should be able to upgrade our potion level even more. Might as well grab some of these while I have the stats for them. I'm not going to grab this because it makes the potions last longer, which is kind of a downside at this point. Get some levels of alchemic command. Yeah, essentially every time I get more capacity, I can just like run through and buy all this stuff. We can go into magic. We can do the same thing with wisdom and resilience. I guess agility. Yeah, aptitude even. Dexterity, concentration. Some of these are not being... Yeah, I can get more points in reserves. Completely forgot about this. We can go ahead and do dimensional prowess. These. Might as well grab those as well. Okay, how are we doing here? We stopped transmuting, but it doesn't seem to have mattered. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. This is capped. And it's unlikely to increase, like even if I buy... Well, I guess I could buy these. Spirit Stones. That increases my soul, but not by much. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get much more than that. 14.2, and the next one costs probably a lot more than that. 15.4. Yeah. So I just got, I think, one level off of that. This one, now that I have the brewing power... Let's see, brewing... Yeah, I could create one level higher than what I'm currently producing. That would give me a little more space, so I might be able to squeeze another couple out of there. And the big thing I could do at this point is go in here. Actually, let's see, structures... Why can't I afford... Oh wow, I don't have the space for this. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about these. A couple more things that I could buy here with that extra space. But yeah, the further you get, the slower the upgrades are. So I think at this point, I'm probably ready to throw in the towel and just wait for the upgrade. Buy another level of amber. And yeah, I thought about seeing if I could get this upgrade. The problem with this, though, is reducing the cost is only done with this alchemy upgrade, which costs amber. And the upgrades that increase this, this starts to scale very slowly. And the price increase of this scales very quickly. So that's one way to get closer to this, but it's going to get really, really, really slow. And then the only other way to get closer is to increase the cap on this, which is also really, really, really slow, because that's only done with essentially these two upgrades. Technically, you can do it with this, but this isn't scaled by anything. So it'll be completely outclassed by these two upgrades together in the long run. Especially since this, I can theoretically buy as many as I want of. I just have to craft a lot. So, I don't know, maybe like with a really high crafting and then an auto clicker and leaving it going for months, maybe I could eventually get somewhere close, but I don't think it's really possible, just because of the scaling, to ever get this. Yeah, the one thing that I could do right here that I'm not going to show is I could run a brainstorm, and that would allow me to get up to 45 million of this, and so I could buy a bunch of both of these, and I could buy some more of this with the soul, and that would just increase my 3 or all 4 of my mental stats. So that would allow me to get a couple more levels of... Where's the upgrade? This one. Enriched Brew. And also, like I said before, I could level up this. I could just do a huge crafting run, get a whole bunch of both of these resources, and buy like 20 or 30 more levels of this. And that would improve the costs on this upgrade as well. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. And I think it's only fair since it just so happens to be playing right now, that we close out with the final run of this, my favorite part of the soundtrack. Alright, so this has been Orb of Creation, the 0.4.5. I will see all of you in a week or two with the launch of the Steam. I think it's version 0.5 that's going to be coming out then. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.